And do people understand what I am saying? Do people understand the words that come out of my mouth?
I think
Ah,
they understand.
awesome. Yes, we are live.
Hey.
Hello. Yes. Let's see. Let's get your icon out. Yes. Now, last time
Oh.
we cut out before people could hear your message to those to progressive voters.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well,
as a recap, um, Horatio,
yes.
what would you say as your comment to progressive voters this year round?
Well, I think, in my personal opinion, that I think that my remarks should wait until after the video because for anyone watching, I want you to watch this interview first and then take some think about it for a second what you just listened to and what you just saw happen. And then I'll provide some remarks. But I think it's important that they that viewers see this first.
Hmm,
Well,
very
what
well.
would you say?
Oh no, I meant of your comments from the last debate.
Oh, well, yeah, that I want to save it for I want to save it for what about the for the mayhem that's to come, and then I'll pick up where I left off because I feel like this is gonna have a lot more. I think what I'm gonna say will have a bigger impact if people watch this first.
For sure, my man. Let me just get the. I
So,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
um, well, I thought I would give some background on this.
Go ahead.
So, so it's interesting to see that it looks like from what polls and betting markets are saying that Trump is starting to win. This is interesting because this is uh, I don't think the poll numbers have been this good for him ever since Kamala Harris first got into the race. And what's what I find really interesting is that after the first debate with Trump and Harris,
Hmm.
when it supposedly was really bad for him, Trump and Harris both changed their strategies. Trump decided to just start doing more town halls and less rallies, from what I've seen, and then Harris decided to go on more interviews with, get this, a lot of networks that are liberal and they're friendly to her.
Mm.
This interview is different though because she's I from what I'm hearing, she's desperate now. Her internal polling is not looking good. And so she probably thought she probably thought this was going to help her cuz just yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, uh, but Trump did an interview with a economics club yesterday where he just goes off on this person who's obviously not friendly to him.
Hmm.
And from the clips I saw, it was a good interview for him. He definitely won the crowd over.
Okay.
Um, but this interview is different. Harris, for the first time, goes on a network for an interview with a network that is not friendly to her. So, this is a first in this campaign. So, people were watching to see how she takes this, and well, I'll let the video speak for itself.
Alrighty then. Let me just finish putting my chicken on my bread they eat. Hold on. Let me finish putting my chicken on my bread that they eat in Greece. Forgot what it's called.
Eating grease?
No, no, no. The bread that they eat in Greece. What is it called again? Some-
Uh, Fried chicken?
No, forgot what
No.
it's called. But it's type of bread. It's flat. Is it masa bread?
Yeah.
I don't think it's masa. I don't know. All right,
Yeah.
it is on there. We shall. Do you see? See the
Yes, I
screen?
can see. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, now hold on. Let me set up the audio because our audio has to be higher than theirs. I'm putting it at 75% of the way, audio
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
Our audio. Wait, hold on. Speak.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay. Well. Oh no. Let me go to the videos audio. Let me put that at 75%. So there we go. There we go. All right. Excellent. We're good.
All
Let,
right, let's go.
let's go, everybody.
Madam Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Brett.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right now,
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
it's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies.
Yeah,
Most
she did.
significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation.
One of the first things they
either in the
did.
US or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the CHIPS and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the Senate, and they didn't bring up that bill.
I'm responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, all right.
We recognized from day one that to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, but you caused it.
A problem.
She's just filibustering.
No, she caused it.
Yeah.
Including to address our asylum system.
You're gonna pop a hole in the swimming pool.
Judges, what we needed to do
Now, everybody, elect me so I can patch up the swimming pool. But you popped it. Excuse me, this is an issue for the entire family.
Yeah.
That's the work we did. And
It's like, but you popped it.
On supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs,
May I pause it?
guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump,
Was that?
let me just...
Sorry, may I pause it?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So if I was him, I would say, so she was going on talking about saying she will do this, but the border bill that was passed, well, that was a nice border bill and all, but it wouldn't have need to have been passed if you didn't do those actions before.
Yeah, it was the. Yeah,
now again, she's so dumb and so arrogant to be like, to let her speak. She wouldn't she would say, well, what she would do is that she would fight you so she has the last word. But it's like, no, 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 no. You don't understand. Your actions caused the rise of illegal migration.
Yeah.
That's your fault. Well, it's your
Oh, wait.
fault that there are many people coming over that border. So, of course, you're going to say, well, the other people. No, no, no. It's your fault. They
Well, wait
wouldn't
and
need
see.
to pass a bill if you would have done your job from the day one.
I know. And then what's interesting about watching this interview the second time around is um he the way Brett Baer is conducting himself is just like he would do in any normal interview. I mean, if he was doing Trump or he was interviewing Trump, Brett Baer would have done the same thing, and Trump would have let him finish and talk about, yeah, this happened and this happened. Well, what do you say about that? And Trump would respond. But the thing about her is that she's trying to filibuster right now. She's trying to dodge the answer. She never answers the question directly.
And what's odd is that she's not doing the typical left-wing thing, the typical left-wing thing to do, which is be vague and non-specific. She's being hyper-specific
Mm-hmm.
with long answers, which is in the past what I would see Republicans do.
Yeah.
She's doing it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. The one thing I'll say about her is that she didn't need to bring up all these other bills that she said within hours of taking the votes, taking the oath of office, before X Act, before Y Act, before Z Act. It's like, no, you can just get to the point.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about this interview that I was watching Brett Baer, who's the interviewer, he was talking about this interview just like moments after he did it. One of the interesting things is that I think he said that the Harris campaign was pushing him to make this interview shorter. And one of the things that people notice is that a couple one of the people one thing that people notice is that she's trying to filibuster for time so she can just say nothing and then get out, because he's gonna try. He said in this interview, Brett Baer, he said, I had so many things I wanted to get to her with, and I couldn't because she wouldn't go any deeper.
Yeah.
So, well, that's your candidate.
I'm just like, so she keeps putting blame on other people for her own actions. It's like, you did this. Can't you
Oh
at
wait.
least say that you at least regret it? Or she could, if I were her,
Oh.
what I would have done is say, those were Biden's decisions. The vice president, am just following his command. Those were his ideas. My ideas would have been different. That's what I would say.
Oh. Oh. Just play the video a little more and you'll see what happens. He kind of does that. Just play it. It gets rough for her.
Let's do it.
Just
Yeah.
finished.
Democrats
Donald Trump
voted against that bill.
learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election,
That you
this
caused.
is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of
Your
the United
problems.
States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you.
but actually is focused
You mean like
on
you are?
Didn't need
fixing
the
it.
bill.
Democrats
She
voted
didn't need
against
the
that
bill.
No,
It
she
would allow
didn't.
1.8
You could have
million
just done
illegal
things that
immigrants into
prevented the bill
country a
to
year.
ever
A lot
be
of
created.
conservatives had a problem with
Bernie
it.
Sanders
It was the six
voted no for
Democrats.
this. Look at
But more
that.
importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened,
Thank you, Bill Clinton, for saying that. Thank you.
This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those
I think it's
families
really, I think
an apology?
Let me just say, first of
Yes,
all,
she
those
does.
are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred.
By your
Oh,
mistake.
really?
That is true. It
Oh,
is
why
also
didn't you?
true
Why didn't you
that
vet
if
these
a border
people then?
security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would
Which
be
you
9
could have done.
months
You
that
didn't
we
need
would
the
have had
bill.
more border agents at the border,
They're like,
more
oh, the
support
Republicans
for
stopped me the
folks who
border
are
bill.
working
You didn't
around
need
the
the border
clock
bill. You could have
trying
done
to
things that
pull it all
prevented it.
together
Madam Vice
to
President.
ensure that no future
Could have
harm
protected the border
would
from the
occur.
beginning.
And this
But
election in
no,
20
you had to redo
days
everything he did.
will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam
That
Vice
you
President, it was a
could have
policy
followed through with.
decision in the early
Yeah,
part
there
of your
was a.
administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm
I will
saying.
tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss.
You are a whore. I'm sorry.
I was just. It's disgusting. I think she said. I think further on in this interview, she's like, I feel sorry for the loss, but, and then, I think she says that. I might be wrong. But
Okay, then I will retract my. No, I'm sorry. What an evil response.
yeah,
I
she's.
am like, I'm sorry. Like, what an evil. However, I was listening to Philippians. Those words should not have come out of my mouth, but
Mhm.
wow, you
Yeah.
are evil.
Well, let me see. Let's see if she says it first. I think she does. Let's see if she says it.
Sincerely. But let's talk about
Oh, she did.
what is happening right
Wait,
now.
what did she say?
She did
But
say, "I
let's
feel
talk
sorry,
about
but."
her loss. Sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions.
Are you
Let-
like you? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was all your fault. An
Yeah.
individual like you. I wish
See,
I was
this-
interviewing her. I would have
this
told
is-
her that to her face. You are a whore. She would have looked at me like, you did not just. I would have been like, I did. And if
You know-
she would get angry with me, I'd lean over, put my finger in my mouth, and keep, like, have my lip, have my cheek do like that thing.
Mhm.
I'd do that and be like, you are an evil person afterwards. I would say that to her face. I know it's not a way that a man of God should act at all. No. But how could you do that? Say those things like, I am very deeply sorry. I am.
Yeah,
But it's like, what? That happened because of you.
yeah, and then just for some context, who was it? Glenn Beck. At the time when Bush was president, he went to go interview him in private, and this was with no cameras, no TV. Bush said right to his face, "Let me just get this right out of the way. Let me just tell you, it was the whole war in Iraq, all the deaths, all that. It's my fault. It's all my responsibility. I own it."
He
And
actually
then
said that.
from what Glenn Beck says, and then Glenn Beck says, "Sir, Mr. President, that was sir, with all due respect, this is the kind of stuff we need to hear you say on TV." And then Bush was like, "Oh no, I can't say that on TV." So at
Hmm.
least Bush admitted it, but
Should have done it on national TV. I'm sorry.
he should have. Now, Kamala Harris, I can see what she's trying to do here, it's
Mhm.
something that JD Vance did during the debate. What she's trying to do is she's trying to steer the entire conversation on Trump. This is what JD Vance did in the debate with Tim Walz, but what JD Vance did is that he would first answer the question and then turn the entire answer on Harris. So he would answer the question first and then talk about Kamala Harris. But Kamala Harris skips the question and goes right to Trump. That's not effective. That doesn't work. You're not giving any closure to your answer.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, you know, to hand wave people's feelings away like that, that is disgusting.
Yeah.
All right, well, forgive me for my language, everybody. Let's move forward.
Let's talk about that as well.
But do you
Brett,
wanna answer
in
her?
all fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for conservatives. Let me just tell you what it does. First
Holding
of all,
back
big
foul
tech
language.
right now is run by a bunch.
Haha.
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before. Let's all be honest about that.
Thanks, Obama. That's what she's saying.
It
She
started.
threw you under the bus.
I think it started with Bush. Yeah, Bush and Obama didn't take care of it. They
Agreed.
should have. They should have done. Bush probably had. I think Bush would have had the best chance to have fixed it, but
Hmm.
it was either a Democrat Congress or he just refused to do it. But let's not forget, everybody, the border issue starts with Bush.
That is true. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist, they will tell you we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question.
But
There were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it.
With you.
Yeah, with you.
They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and
Or
women,
you
they're
could have
working
not
hard.
had those policies.
They're working around the clock.
Or you could have just kept Trump's
get it.
policies and not touch it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care.
Met those people. Yes, I have.
Those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very
Oh,
clear that I
my-
will follow the
oh,
law.
come
I will make
on.
that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the
She is
United
not
States,
taking
that's exactly what I've
responsibility.
done, not to mention before.
Wow.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've
Nothing.
not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
Why?
evolutions
Why did you
that we've
change?
had?
No, but let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel to the Guadalajara cartel to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career
After she's done
going after
talking,
people
may I pause it?
who present a threat
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the safety of the American people
yeah, yeah.
and,
You can pause it.
cross
Pause
our
it.
border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
Sounds great. Why didn't you do it as vice president? Sounds great. Why didn't you do it then? Why haven't you done it for the past 3.5 years? Why?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just, it's like, that all sounds great. That all sounds wonderful. Why didn't you do it for the past 3.5 years? Because you obviously had, she admitted about maybe a week ago. She revealed that on The View that she was she was involved with most of the major decisions of the Biden administration.
Yep.
So she can't play the I'm just the vice president, I don't have that much power card. No, because she admitted openly I was involved with most of these decisions. So she can't hide behind that anymore.
Exactly. And here's another thing. So she did she did do those things in California as the attorney general in California, I believe it was. Attorney
Yeah.
General Justice, I believe that was.
Attorney General, yeah.
So as that one in California for the Attorney General of Justice, what she did, listen close, everybody. Uh, there were 3 black men who were in prison. They had served their time. They were set to be released. She personally kept them in prison past their time, and she
Wow.
had them do physical hard labor with no pay.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she
Wow.
that is called chattel slavery. This woman is a slave owner. She is she has conducted, I am not joking, chattel slavery in the 21st century. She is an evil woman.
Well,
This is a time when
Go ahead.
oh, okay. Oh, I was just gonna say, she talks a big game, but seriously, she could have done something. If she admitted that she was involved with most of these decisions, she's admitted that she was the last person in the room when the Afghanistan withdrawal's been made. She has admitted that she wouldn't have changed any decisions in the Biden administration. The question now is, okay, if you have no regrets and if you were involved with most of these decisions, if you were in Biden's head for most of these decisions, you know who is it, why shouldn't you get any why shouldn't you not bear any of the blame? You are just as responsible as Biden was for all of this.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The chat only sees us. They need to see all they have been doing is just hearing this. Let me actually put on the display capture.
Okay.
So wow, they have been just hearing and not actually seeing. So actually, let me
Oh,
go. So yeah, everybody, yeah, you've just been looking at Horatio and I, but yeah, let's actually do. It's a good thing I have the uh, stream on my iPod up where I can see it. It's 15 seconds late, but yes, and there we go. Yeah, this woman here, everybody, she kept 3 men who were black who were in prison doing hard physical labor past their sentences doing to continue doing hard physical labor with no pay. That
yeah.
is called chattel slavery, and she conducted it in the 21st century. She is a slave owner.
She's she's a hypocrite is what she is. If she really believed in all these hard-nosed prosecutor behaviors that she says she has, well then, seriously, why didn't you do this for the past 3 years? Why didn't you tell Biden? Because he obviously had you as the last person in the room like Biden wanted. Seriously. Well, why couldn't you have told him, let's not do this, let's do this. But no, she's already admitted, I regret nothing. I regret nothing.
Yeah,
like,
she isn't. Yeah, go ahead.
there was one question. If I was in the debate with Donald, if I was in Trump's place, I would have asked the question that some people were talking about in this. It's this question: do you regret 13 people in Afghanistan getting killed who died because of your decision? Do you regret all the people that have died because of illegal border crossings which you were in charge of? Do you regret not getting all that internet, not getting all that so-called high-speed internet out to people in rural areas who don't have it?
During the hurricane.
No, she was tasked apparently with so Biden put her in charge of getting high-speed internet out to people in like very like wilderness back in country areas,
Oh,
and she never did it. So that was another thing she did.
okay.
So she was responsible for the Afghanistan thing. She was tasked with, she was the border czar. Let's not forget that. She was tasked with securing the border. She never did anything. In fact, she never even visited the border.
Until recently.
Yeah, until recently. She never oversaw any of this. And it's now, as all of a sudden now she comes out and says all this stuff. It's like, yeah, yeah, where were you the past 3 years? What in the world have you been doing?
Yeah, everybody, she is an evil human being. Now, again, if you're a Christian, I and you, we need to pray for her and, show love unto her, care for her, do not speak evil of her, unlike me, how I did it earlier. I need to watch my mouth as well.
Oh, we're past the 10-minute mark. So, oh,
Wh-
it starts getting better.
wait, are you sure? Because within 10 minutes, I use foul language.
Oh no, for her it gets better.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's keep going.
Voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in
Yeah.
support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
Okay, she looks mean.
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you know what? You got to take
during
responsible for what happened in your
presidency.
administration.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. I gotta tell this story. So when I first listened to this interview, and I heard that, I was like, oh, shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have said that.
If I may.
Yeah.
So, she right here, she looks so smug, so gleam, like, yeah, I got him. Pendeja, what did you do?
She just trashed her entire vice presidency by saying that.
Okay, I'm sorry, I kind of woke my mom up, but here's another thing. See here, after she sees that, she looks so kind of like, okay, I gotta get through this. He speaks about that policy, things like that, and she looks kind of like kind of a little like, okay, how do I navigate this? How do I navigate this? And then right here, it's like she looks so gleam, like, yeah, see, that's right, he did do it, yeah. Pendeja. Guess what? Look, yeah, okay, that may have happened. You know, I never said he was a perfect guy. But here's another
Yeah.
thing: he didn't push that forwards in the administration. Yes,
He-
the Bear. Okay, well, Bear goes on to say he didn't push for that. So that happened in his administration by others. Correct? That's actually
Other gender.
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed.
Presidency
in
so
black and
for that prison policy and no.
is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition
Well,
surgeries
you know what? You got
happened
to take
during
responsible for what
his
happened in your
presidency.
administration.
Yeah.
so. It didn't happen under his administration. They didn't advocate for it. So, it's like, okay, that's not the win you want, but she wants to have the last word because Miss
Well,
here thinks she's being smug. It's like, okay, well,
oh,
you,
oh, she
okay.
thinks. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that was it. She's just thinking she's, I won. It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah. That right there. That's a Trump ad. That right there is a Trump ad.
I'm Donald Trump and I support I endorse his message.
I know. It's just gonna be that, and then it's I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Oh, this pendeja just destroyed her whole career.
That might have. Yeah, that might have.
Surgeries happened in his presidency.
It's in
So
black and white.
would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I
But you have a
think
say
Donald Trump would say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's real. He spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas,
Oh, really?
at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, is really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though. On plans for the American people, I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan
Which
to
is a
deal
racist
with
deal.
what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of
Which
America's
is
economy.
a racist
I'm
deal
offering
she
a plan
wants.
that is about
She's
taking
spending way
care
too
of
much
young
money.
parents and giving them the support they need.
Yes,
My
Spending
plans
too
for
much
the
money.
economy will
no. She's all of those things she's doing. She wants to do by race. She wants black people to get it all first. It's like, I'm part black. Maybe I should
Really?
get some of that. Yes, I am. 6%. But again, she's probably going to say, well, that's not enough. Okay, one, you're a racist. And two, you're racist by offering it first to to this ethnic group. But what about the other ethnic groups? What about Latinos? What about Native Americans? What about other groups? It's like
Oh,
that
well,
is like she wants to do all this stuff. She wants to give affordable housing. She wants to give affordable healthcare. She wants to give affordable loans to black businesses, and she wants to help black families raise kids by giving them more money or give more tax breaks. The thing is that like by doing it, segregating it by race, you're a racist.
yeah.
It
It's a
it
racist policy to be sure.
sure is, and yet she is the one who enslaved black men. 21st century, everybody, look it up.
And you wonder why no black men are why black men are going away from her.
Well, Donald Trump needs to learn about this. And before he opens his stupid mouth without understanding all of it, he needs to have Tulsi Gabbard talk to him about it in detail. So and have her do it to him several times so that way when asked about it, he can just regurgitate it flawlessly without sounding ridiculous. Because yes, when it came to the debate and it came to they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Okay, first of all, there are reports of locals saying that their dogs and cats have gone missing. There's no proof of it, nor is there a lot of evidence for it. There is evidence and proof that the migrants, especially the Haitian ones, are taking the ducks and the geese from the park and eating those and killing them on the spot, taking them home and eating them. There's evidence and there's proof of that. There's no proof and there's next to zero evidence. Sorry, there's not next to zero. There's little evidence of migrants doing that. Sorry, of migrants doing that. Now, proof is different from evidence. Like I found evidence for, I found evidence. These are just clues. But the proof is what you can prove. Like, is it with beyond a reasonable doubt that it is proved that it is believable that the Haitians have done this?
Yeah.
There's no proof of the Haitians doing it. He saw videos of locals talking about this stuff. Without researching more, he just said it. And it's like he made himself look stupid. But
Well, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I carried on too long, but and people in their heads lost the thought. They got lost because I was carrying on too much. But the thing is, I had to explain that. So that way I'm trying to say Tulsi Gabbard should talk to Trump in detail so he could just regurgitate it on the spot. She held 3 black men in prison past their sentences to do physical labor, hard labor, for free. She is a slave owner.
Well, that might help him, but I will say this: I think Trump was very smart because, excuse me, if you go on YouTube right now, you'll find that this whole interview is on the Trump YouTube channel. So that is uh, the fact. I think Trump. I think that's a really good idea. Just let Kamala Harris. Just let Kamala Harris speak. Yeah, it's right there. Let her speak. That her doing the whole interview was a Trump ad. Seriously, it really was.
Disastrous. Pendeja.
I think Donald Trump would say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think he spent $20 million on those ads trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people,
The border.
it's really quite remote.
It's not.
His policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say
On
it was
plans for
different,
the
but
American
we'll
people,
move on.
I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan
Racist.
to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are
Racist.
the backbone of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My
By
plans
race.
for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker, would ignite inflation, and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him
They're your
on the
opinion.
economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the
Of
type
your
of rhetoric that has
administration.
come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on
May I
2
pause
different
it?
shows last week what, if anything...
Yeah, go ahead, because this part gets good.
Okay, I will. I rewinded it so we can get his question. Have her
Yeah,
finish up her last thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, because this part I think was one of the big parts of the interview, and Brett Baer, I think this was one of his biggest questions. Like you talk about this, but we'll get to that. What were you gonna say?
So when it comes to Trump giving tax cuts to the billionaires and all this stuff, okay, well, he gave in his first round, he gave tax cuts to everybody, and I mean everybody.
Oh yeah.
So the rich, they make a lot of money. Let's say his tax cuts only did like 10%. Okay, everybody gets 10% from their tax cuts. Or let's say everybody gets 50%. Great. The rich, they make so much money that their 50% is incredibly high. So of
Yeah.
course, So of course, by giving it to literally everybody, you are, yes, giving more money to the rich. That's, to those billionaires and those things. Yes, that is true. So they're not incorrect, but they only make it seem like he never gave it to the lower and middle class. And I'm tired of
Yeah,
people who divide the middle class from the working class, because middle class is working class and lower class is working class. And
yeah, and
there are upper echelons of the working class, duh. So that
yeah.
extends to everybody who's working.
Mm-hmm. And let's not forget, if I remember correctly, Trump raised the standard deduction on all taxpayers
Hmm.
so that it makes it even so that it makes it more makes it a little easier for people to not even file taxes. If I remember correctly, he shot the standard deduction way up for all taxpayers. So now if for example this year, one of Trump's policies is that if you're a single taxpayer, your filing requirement is that you have to have made $13,850. Well, that was because of Trump. So if you're single and you're working part time, you don't have to file. As far as I am aware, you don't have to file unless you make $13,850. So
Yeah.
yeah, so Trump's tax policy. The thing about it that made, from what I've heard, is that
Uh-huh.
it benefited most states, but in like the super blue states, it hurt people
Yeah,
because of the laws influencing it.
that is true because, all of those rich people, all those rich billionaires live in blue states.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Something doesn't ring right.
Something doesn't, yeah. So what's funny is that the left have all the billionaires at the time of Trump's tax cuts lived in blue states: California, New York, Illinois. And it's like most of those air quote rich people that his tax cuts benefited were in blue states, which were having policies of having their own state policies affect their own economies.
Yeah.
So it's like the blue states are what allowed the rich to get away with it.
Yeah.
So I think she's throwing rocks in a glass house, but hey, she's the one who said you should take responsibility for everything in your administration. So, hey, 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 there's
Yeah.
there's the witch.
Yeah. I
Forget it, but
I
forgive
do
me.
I
There's the woman who is, whatever.
Yeah, I do want to issue one correction. What I should have said is that Trump raised the standard deduction on tax returns, which means you could subtract a certain amount of money from your taxable income. The filing requirements are very similar to the standard deduction, but they're not the same. So what Trump did is that he raised the standard deduction way high, or
Hmm.
really high, for all taxpayers so that they could deduct a lot, like over, for most people,
Hmm.
over $10,000 of taxable income. So then you wouldn't have to pay that as much taxes. So it, if you're wondering where those high standard deductions come from, they came from Trump.
That is true. All right, well, let's get to we are about like halfway through. I don't know how long we've been going.
Oh, the halfway point is where she starts to get angry. She starts to lose it.
I love it.
Turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I noticed.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So, you're
Okay,
not Joe
but that
Biden. You're
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut it right bear off. It's just that doesn't answer anything. It's like
Yeah.
I have different body parts than these two men. Great.
Well,
That doesn't
well,
mean anything.
I was
not
just it's not just that. She's just like, I'm not the person Donald Trump. I was like,
I
really?
understand.
I was like, really? That's all you have? That's it? That's all you can say?
What I would have said,
Really?
yeah. I cut you off. You were saying?
No, that was my point. I was just like, really? That's all you can say? That's all you've got?
Yeah. You know what I would have said if I was Four Eyes over here?
What would you have said?
As she said, I'm also not Donald Trump. I would say, you sure aren't. I'm sorry, I'm waking my mom up. Okay, let's do it.
28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So,
You sure not?
you're not Joe Biden. You're not Donald Trump. But nothing comes to mind that you would do differently.
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. For example,
You pause it for a second? Okay. Now, I forgot this when I watched this the first time around, but did you just hear what she said? She said, my presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden. She just threw him under the bus. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, he's been doing it to her, but after watching this tonight, I would be curious to see if Joe Biden retaliates.
Yeah. Just realized I have a bunch of anime girls who need to be not dressed the way they are.
Okay.
Clothes.
Okay.
a new generation of leadership.
She
For
is
example,
absurd.
am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago.
Oh, come on, no.
And the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing. Addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years, so what are you turning the page from?
I love the music.
I think I literally found like a Google cheat code because
Yes. And it's called Skip. But also, oh man, that music was the best for what happened just to Kamala Harris just now.
That was the question. You're gonna turn the page, cuts to a painting.
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other.
Like you.
Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
And why do you?
70% of people
That is
tell
about turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than 70%
People are
of people
exhausted.
tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, That track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person who...
He's not president.
You and I both know what I'm talking about.
Here
you and I
comes.
both know what I'm talking
I actually don't.
about.
What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But
people
you're the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him instead of the American people. People are tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
okay.
It is not supposed to be a cakewalk.
So are they
misguided,
the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish.
Sure, but so did you.
An enemy within.
He's okay, well, he did say words like that. He did, but didn't you say those same words about Trump supporters?
On the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
He didn't talk about the American people. He said the media, didn't he?
You just showed in all fairness and respect.
That is a question, though. He did say about the media, right?
Here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people.
No, he didn't.
No, he hasn't.
Stop making me defend him. Woman, stop.
Talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a
That's what you said
and in
about hate speech.
The president of the United States in the United States of America should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it.
You mean unlike you?
What is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this.
She did this.
You call Donald Trump. You call Donald Trump. He's misguided. You say now he's unstable.
Like you.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
Like her.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room. And he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
Sure.
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump.
Come on.
Talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best including leaders of our national security community, have all spoken out, even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate.
Okay,
So
well,
that is a fact.
interesting.
That is a fact.
Okay, interesting. I should have not spoken at that time. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm watching.
Okay, so she carried on a lot of whole stuff and she wanted to have the last words. And it's like, he never said he wanted to turn the military on US civilians. That
Yeah.
was you. You said you want to go after hate speech.
Yeah,
And
and those,
it's
oh,
like,
go ahead, go ahead.
no, she wanted to go after hate speech. She has been villainizing people for their words, saying that their words, their hate speech is dangerous. Like, what? That is called freedom of speech. You don't have to like freedom of speech. You don't have to like what they say, but you have to understand that that is still freedom of speech.
Yeah, and for anyone who's gonna say, "Oh, Donald Trump was threatening to use the military back in 2020," yeah, he was when Democrat governors were refusing to quell the riots in their own cities.
Question.
I remember. Yeah.
Did she just now, so did she actually say in 2020 or did she just say vaguely like
Well,
he was doing it?
she's saying he's gonna do it now.
Well, that's
She
stupid. He never said that.
Yeah, he never said it now. And if anyone's going to go back to 2020 and say, "Oh, he did that back then," well, you know why he did that? It's because Democrats refused to enforce the law in their own cities. And Trump, I remember him saying this. He said, "If you people are not going to enforce the law, then I will."
Ask
Because
Tim Waltz.
yeah, it was probably one of them was Tim Walz, but he was saying, I remember Trump said, if these people refuse to enforce the law in their own states, then I will. I will deploy the military and I will restore order to the cities.
Tim Waltz was the governor of Minnesota, right?
Yes.
Okay. Or was he the mayor? Was he the governor or mayor?
He was the governor of Minnesota.
So why didn't Tim Waltz crack down on those riots? He didn't. He in fact joined them. And so if he's not going to bring law and order to the state, of course a president, that is the president's job. For if she never mentioned, from what I can remember just now, we can go back. Do you want me to go back?
Go back to when?
Oh, I shoot. Like I just went back in their conversation. I guess I'll go
Oh yeah,
back.
go back.
Okay, well, I guess we'll go here.
Yeah,
But
go right there.
but so if she did say the year 2020 he wanted to turn it on the US people, that's because your buddy Tim Waltz and others like him didn't joined the riots. I don't
Yeah.
care what anyone says. Those are riots.
Yeah, in Portland, Oregon, Minnesota, where else was another place that rioted real bad?
In Portland, Oregon, they rioted and they locked police in. They barricaded police into their headquarters with a bulldozer and concrete, pouring cement into there.
Yeah,
And
and
they were launching fireworks and Molotov cocktails in the only entrance of that facility. And the thing is, those same people accidentally lit a forest on fire, which is the reason why Joe Rogan was saying people are setting the forest on fire. And then you have conspiracy theorists halfway across the world, or even people across its own nation, saying, "Oh, it's environmentalists. They're trying to burn down the forest so they can blame it on the oil companies." First of all, one, that's crazy. Two, there's truth to where their information is coming from. And I just explained it. Antifa tried to kill police officers in Portland, Oregon. off the outskirts of Portland, Oregon, I believe it was. That or these are different events, but either way, they tried to kill them, and Antifa, either in the same event or in a different event, lit a forest on fire by accident.
Yeah.
And
And
if
well,
only there was law and order brought in, or done, Donald Trump would not have needed to say that. You were gonna say?
oh yeah. Now the one thing I can't remember is if he actually did it. If he actually did deploy the military, I can't remember if he did it. He talked about it during the riots. I don't know if he actually did it. I think he might have, but I can't remember if he did or didn't. But suffice it to say, Trump was willing to enforce the law when governors in their own state were not willing to do it. So in that instance, what they're talking about, what Harris is talking about right now, is that he wants to go after his own personal political opponents with the military. That is not true. Do you know why it's true? In 2016, when he was talking about locking Hillary Clinton up, did he do it? No. When he was, I don't know,
I don't know.
was it?
If he
Hmm?
wanted to be a dictator, he would have done it before January 6th. He
If
would have said, you know, we're in a pandemic, we're going to postpone elections, and there won't be an election this year. He
yeah,
could have done it. He didn't.
if
The
he
country
was
was locked
really,
down.
yeah, if he was really a dictator, if he was really such the Hitlerian figure they say he was, well, would he wouldn't have he would have refused to have left office. It just outright protested and never have left, and then the military would have had to escort him out. That never happened.
The only fascist leader that was ever voted out of office was Benito Mussolini. And sure, he left, but and he did accept to be locked up. Um, that's the comparison the left say occasionally, like Destiny. He says Mussolini was voted out of office and he left. He was still a dictator. It's like, yeah, sure, he was.
Yeah,
And it's like, is Hitler like? Did Hitler? Sorry, not Hitler. Did Trump do anything uh, like like again? That's not the accusation. You can claim that Trump did things like Mussolini, I guess,
yeah,
but the accusation is that he's like a Hitler. Hitler
yeah,
didn't want to leave. Mussolini did. They're not saying he's Mussolini, saying he's Hitler.
yeah. And then yeah, and even if Trump deployed the military, could he have constitutionally have done that? I don't know. Maybe not. So it's just why I can't remember if he actually did or didn't.
Uh,
So,
I think he can actually, but he
oh, he
needs
can.
to, yes, as long as he files for martial law, I believe he can. But the same thing goes for Joe Biden. Joe Biden could have done it during, what is this? Notifications. Don't allow. What is this? So, yeah, he could have done that. He did not do that.
Yeah, and the one thing to note is that one thing to note, so this mainly falls on the governors who should have done this. I remember during 1980 when Ronald Reagan was running for president, he went on an interview with William F. Buckley Jr. and he revealed in that Reagan revealed in that interview during the LA riots, I think in Berkeley, that when the people were getting violent and it was starting to make national news, Lyndon Johnson called Reagan on the phone and said, "If you need any federal assistance, it will be provided." And Reagan said, "Thank you very much." But Reagan didn't need the federal assistance because he used the National Guard to restore order in the streets.
Hmm.
So let's just be clear here. Donald Trump was if what you said is true, he could use the military to restore law and order. Donald Trump was going to use the military for the right thing. What she's talking about is using it to just silence political opponents, which is what he's never done.
Yeah, she needs to look directly in the mirror, but she's not going to because she doesn't want to be told that she's wrong. She doesn't want to be done that. She doesn't want to take responsibility. People keep saying she's a liar. She's like, no, no, no. She doesn't want to take responsibility. That's the whole thing about her. She doesn't want to take responsibility. Like she did lie here outright, and I'm like, you are evil. And what's even worse is that she herself is what is it again? She herself is just intentionally stoking the flames to cause tension between the other political opponents that she's facing, whether it be Trump, Vance, or anybody else, or anybody who disagrees with her. When she goes on to speak to the Palestinian protesters, even though I don't agree with them,
Hmm.
she says, look, if you want Donald Trump to win, then keep doing that. One, you're being at odds with people who should be on your side or people that you want to support you, but you're being at odds with them. Why are you constantly stoking the flames between Palestinian protesters, between uh, between the leaders of Black Lives Matter, the male leaders of Black Lives Matter who supported Trump? Why are you being at odds with the Teamsters? Why are you being at odds with the people, the port men, at the ports? I forgot what they're called, but why are you being at odds with them? And why are you being at odds with Bear here? I know he may not be friendly to you, but why are you personally being at odds when people just disagree with you? It seems like
Yeah.
you have the issue. I don't care about Trump. If I was interviewing her, I would say, I don't care about Trump. I don't care about Trump. I don't care about Trump. You. What about you? She would say he's being hostile. It's like, no, no, no. Listen, you're being and she would keep talking over me, and that's fine. I would have to just roll my eyes, sit there for a little bit, let her continue speaking, and then I would say, you are no, 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 don't carry on, because the more I carry my words on, she'll interrupt. So what I would have to do is just a quick word out, really quickly. Quick word would have to be not taking responsibility,
Yeah.
irresponsible.
Yeah. Well, when we're done with this interview, I should show you. I'll give you the video of the post interview video that Brett Baer did with Mark Levine,
Sure.
and he talks about his thoughts about the interview and what he wanted to do with this interview.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Let's let's see what else she has to say. I forgot how this ends,
Let's do
or
it.
how near the end. Forgot how it goes.
I hope people are watching, but the more I carry on, I feel that people are like, all right, we're done. I
Yeah.
think, but whatevers. All right,
Yeah.
American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security community, have all spoken out. Even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Okay, yeah.
Madam Vice
He
President,
also fired those people.
two more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands. Okay.
She's not wrong.
This attack on Israel.
Yeah, she's not wrong about that.
missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power.
They
that is
have
one of my highest
nukes. I'm
priorities.
sorry, they do.
A number of
They just don't have the
would say
long-range
China.
missiles
The FBI
to
director
deliver
said
them.
that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the number one threat?
They can't miniaturize the bombs.
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, in the several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel. I was there, most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself and to
Bye
give
bye, Palestinian
American support
protesters.
to be able to allow
She
Israel
don't like
to
you.
have the resources to defend itself against attack.
I don't hate them. I
including
don't hate
from
them. It's just
Iran and
she don't like
Iran's
them.
terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
But those
is,
proxies were getting funded
my
by Iran.
commitment to that is unyielding.
Okay, this article is going to change your life if you've been injured in a recent car accident. So,
Yeah, how about one by Kamala Harris?
Unwavering.
Critics just say that
To that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions
Let's
in
go back
oil
to Donald
profits.
Trump, who pulled
Can
out
we
of- who
talk
pulled
about
out of
your
a deal
policies, though?
that would have actually put
But here are
Iran in check.
the estimates
and
in
then
billions
it was during Donald Trump's
that go
administration
towards the
that
Iran.
Can we talk about your
that we
policies,
had
though?
an
Your
American
administration.
military base
Please.
that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches. Not to mention,
I think he
how
did,
Donald
actually.
Trump
Did he?
All of this money
has treated and
I-
talked about America's military
don't
and
know.
military service people,
Critics
calling
say
them
that it goes to
suckers and
Hezbollah,
losers.
I don't
that
think he
one
did.
is false. That
Yeah,
was a lie.
that is a lie. But she didn't create that lie, so she's just repeating it.
That is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes.
I don't think you follow the facts either.
The choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important
I ran millions of dollars.
contrast that is presented
Billions of
for
dollars.
folks to make a
And
decision
there are
that
critics
they feel.
who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping.
If I may, if I were the interviewer, you can't carry on your words. You have to do quick. If you're going to respond with jabs at her like that, with questions, like you have to respond real quick because that's how she works. You can't respond with elongated responses. You have to go quick, so that way it takes her a second to respond and think. But wait, what did you just say? Because
yeah.
Iran got millions of dollars by her administration. You were in just like you said on The View, you were there for every major decision in the Biden administration. So you decided to give billions of dollars to Iran.
She was there for it all. So for all those people who says, "Oh, she wasn't," she admits it. She was there. She was in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really do wonder, because Biden, he's obviously senile. He's obviously not there. I really do wonder if she was the one behind most of these decisions. If she was the one that gave the final say. I really do wonder.
I kept cutting you off, but yeah, Badakafka.
Yeah, she was behind Badakaf Care. She definitely did that.
Yeah. Here's a joke. She was on the phone when the assassinator was trying to kill Trump, being like, "Dang it, how could you miss him? Kill him, everybody." That's the joke. She didn't actually do it. Everybody calm down.
Let's see. Let's see what she says.
Oh, yeah.
Who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things.
There's more to say. I have much more to say.
There are a lot of things that people want to learn about you and your policies, and that's why we
I invite
you
everyone
here.
to go to KamalaHarris.com, and you will see that I have 80 pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do
And that's why
intend
we
to do to
invited you
strengthen
here,
our economy.
to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap
Well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe
Okay.
to Fox News YouTube.
So let me share with you the video of the post-interview thoughts that Brett Baer gave.
Let's do it.
Here you go. It's in Discord.
So let's see. This Biscuit here. I'm gonna call her Biscuit. That's my only out for insulting her.
Yeah, the things that she did in this interview is, one, she showed herself, she got angry. You could tell she wasn't used to you can tell she wasn't used to going on adversarial media.
Hey, everyone, big heads up.
You can tell she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And the more she did it, the more she got frustrated and angry. So now Trump doesn't really get angry with it anymore. He just jabs back.
Yeah. I'm just like, my goodness, what is this person doing? Brett Bear reacts. Oh, that's ultimate. All right. Oh, let me get this up for the peoples. You see it?
Yeah, I can see it, but the stream is not catching it.
Oh, the stream is tiny?
No, the stream's not even showing the video.
Let me see. Are you on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh.
Watching.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. Cool.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Valley's running a sale on all their meat sticks right now. You can get 30 sticks for $36, which comes out to $1.20 per stick.
As much as Kamala Harris's husband's meat stick. I'm joking.
Brett Baer, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Mark.
I need not to talk like that. I need to talk like as cheap as her husband's meat stick. That's so terrible.
Brett Baer, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Mark. Yeah, I was. There was a slight bit of frustration. I had so much stuff to get to, and I was hoping that it was really going to be this civil back and forth. But, it was good for her to come on, and I think she should do more of them. But I was just trying to get through the talking points, and it took a while, and it was a little bit of, interrupting and kind of getting in on the breath.
It was clear they had a strategy to come in there, which was, if you asked the question...
Wait a minute, question.
Yeah.
Can we stream this?
I don't know.
Oh, then I'm sorry, yeah. We'll have to do this off air.
Yeah, let's do it off air.
But you said you saw it, correct?
I watched most of this, or a portion of it. So, yeah. So, what did you think of the Harris interview?
Well, yes, I interrupted, but you're watching us, so yeah. Apparently, I thought she lied at she did, but she didn't lie throughout it. People were making it seem like, oh, she just lied throughout. No, she lied, but she didn't lie throughout the whole thing. But she kept obfuscating the answer. She kept saying, well, Trump this, oh, Trump that. It's like, okay, well, you have been in office since then. It doesn't matter. So yeah, okay, listen. And then when she goes on to talk about other people who have died because of her actions, that was the most evil thing I've heard.
Yeah.
That alone, you should never vote for her. But alone is that she's a slave owner, so you should never vote for her, period. But hey, look, isn't it just normal for the party who created the KKK and the party of the Confederates to own slaves? Because that's exactly what she did.
What I think tonight is that you could tell she wasn't used to this. You can tell that she didn't know how to deal with adversarial media. Donald Trump and JD Vance have an advantage over this, and that at most news networks they go on are hostile toward them. They have to deal with this basically 24/7. You can tell that she's not used to this. Same thing with Tim Walz. They're both not used to getting attacked on different fronts about their policies. So when it comes down to actually having to answer tough questions, they start to filibuster the answer so they don't have to actually answer the question. One of the things in this video that I sent you is basically Mark Levine is saying you could tell they had a strategy that they were wanting to just talk. She was just wanting to talk over everything so that she could eat up airtime so that she wouldn't actually have to answer questions.
Yeah, that is the thing about her, and I'm just like, my goodness, just my goodness.
Yeah.
So I kept enlarging and minimizing your thing every time you spoke, but I'm just tired of doing it.
Oh, it's okay.
There is a way to do that, but I would have to run certain programs to where each time you speak, your little icon moves. I like that, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
But all I can say outright is that, yeah, this person is evil. She herself obfuscates the answer. She won't take responsibility for her actions, and she likes to point the fingers at other people, villainize other people because they oppose her. She wants to go after freedom of speech and claim that her opponent is doing it. He has said some pretty stupid things, but again, there has been either those things come out of anger and then him reassessing, being like, yeah, I actually should have meant that for these other things, even though he
Yeah.
says, even though when he gets caught for those things, he says, look, I actually mean this, and then he explains it. Because because knowing his personality from the way he talked on his show and the way he's been speaking before he was in office, when he was still a Democrat, he would still say things that are off the cuff that is like, this guy's angry. But clearly he doesn't do those things because, again, he would have done them if he was truly a dictator. He
Yeah,
didn't do it.
Yeah, and the times he did use the military, he was actually doing it to restore actual law and order from malicious people who were rioting in cities. And the only reason he was threatening to do that is because Democrat governors in blue states refused to do their job and actually enforce the law.
True.
How in the world could you say that Donald Trump is the threat to democracy? He's the threat to the republic, or whatever you want to call him, when he has done nothing to actually try to seize power from the government. He has done absolutely nothing to overthrow the United States government so he can make himself a self-proclaimed dictator.
Here's the
If he
thing. So yeah, go on, go on. No, go
Oh,
on.
I was going to say, if he really was going to do that, he would have done it in his first term, and he would have failed at it, and then he would have been escorted out of the chamber. Oh, one more thing. If this actually did happen, if he actually did the things that they say he did, the Republicans in the Senate would never have acquitted him when he was impeached. They would have unanimously gone and tried to impeach him. They did this with Richard Nixon back in 74 or 73.
Mhm.
So Republicans, they can turn on their own candidates,
So
but there's no evidence to back up that he actually was this threat that they claim he is.
So what you're saying is that the Republicans, unlike the Democrats, are the ones who have actually, historically speaking, held their own to a higher standard.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they Nixon. There was this one. So you know Barry Goldwater, right?
No.
Okay, so Barry Goldwater was Republican senator back in the 60s and the 70s. And when the whole Watergate thing broke out, he he was in the Senate and he was about to vote to impeach Nixon. And so, or he was going to vote to take Nixon out of office after he was impeached. And so Nixon met with Barry Goldwater before he resigned, and Nixon just said to him, "So, what are my chances on the Hill looking like?" And then I think Barry Goldwater said something like, "Well, to be honest with you, if you get 6 or 7 votes, I think that's pretty much all you're gonna get."
Hmm.
And so he understood from that. He's like, "Okay, I see what you mean." And then soon after, he said he was going to resign. So Republicans, they can turn on their own leaders. Now Democrats do it too, but not in the same way. They will try to keep their they'll try to keep their candidate in despite any bad behavior they have. Started with Bill Clinton.
Jimmy Carter, actually, because when Jimmy Carter was not doing very well in office, when he was the one doing it, they fought to keep him in. He was very bad during his time. I do know that they fought to keep him in, and Republicans wanted him out. So I may not be too familiar with a lot of political history going back beyond Reagan, but I do know of that.
Yeah. I think during the 90s when when Democrats they had the opportunity to get Clinton out of office with the Monica Lewinsky scandal. They had the golden opportunity to take him out
Hmm.
of office and then actually set a standard, set a precedent. What they did though is kind of like what they did with killing the filibuster for justices. Is that
Yeah.
they decided to go with a certain procedure and they lived to regret it.
Hmm.
That's right. Let's be honest here. The whole Democrats refusing Democrats refusing to have the filibuster on Supreme Court justices is the reason Roe v. Wade was overturned. Now, yes, Donald Trump appointed the justices, but we have to go farther back. And we have to see that Democrats wanted to take the filibuster out of selecting Supreme Court justices. And they live to regret that. They really if pro-choicers really want someone to blame your own party cuz Donald Trump would never have been able to appoint those justices if the Democrats never wanted a filibuster removed on justices.
Hmm. Like whenever time you do hear Trump naturally talk on his own about, abortion and that stuff, people like saying, "Oh, he wants to get rid of abortion." Well, when he talks on his own, just, on his own, like he's in his element on his own, like not at a rally, but he's just chilling. He talks very much like an old school Democrat. He was a Democrat his whole life until 2006 when he
Yeah.
left. So, of course, on his own, he's like, I think they're going a little too far with pro-life. He said things like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
and like the pro-life absolutists hold his feet to the fire, being like, he's not our candidate because he's not absolute. It's like, well, okay, yeah, but if you are going to be pro-life, and you're in an absolutist like that, you're going to need all the inches you can get. So, he's leading in that right direction if that's what you want. And if you want things to just go back to the way things used to, he's pretty much the same type of candidate you would need, simply because he himself has said that states could decide on their own. If California wants to decide on their own, and California will decide.
Yeah,
It should be
yeah,
left up to the states in that manner. But to be honest, I do agree that when Tim Pool talks about it, and he ends up saying that, hey, life, because again, when it comes to human beings, it's it can't just be a state's issue, because it's not a state's issue that some people can be enslaved and others can't be. It's like, no, 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 that's not an issue for people to, that's just not an issue, because like they're either human beings or they're not.
mm-hmm.
It can't be left up to the state. So the same thing is and should be said here, that it should not be left up to the states. But what do you do at that point?
Yeah,
But Tim
exactly.
Pool's right that people back then who were enslaved, they could physically fight back. Infants in the womb can't fight back. So there's not a moral outrage like there was back then.
Yeah.
And all I can say outright is just that when it comes to this stuff, it's like, comes to the abortion stuff, I don't want it to be happening. If things get passed in favor of it, it's like I'm like, hey, look, it happened. We're just following the democratic process because we are a constitutional republic, which is a form of democracy, but it is a republic, not a direct democracy, which is what people who are on the left, politically progressive, I mean, who are progressive want to be. I keep going on about progressive because if you don't name them specifically, and if people just say liberals or left wingers, you're casting a huge net. You
Yeah,
call them out specifically. They call themselves progressives, and they want to transition children at a young age because from their perspective they believe that if they're not transitioned at this young age they might commit suicide. So by you preventing that, you will cause them to commit suicide. Yeah, here's the thing. um, Many young kids who do transition end up taking their own lives.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly, because they feel confused. They are young kids. They're not consenting adults. For adults to do that, that is something that's, I'm sorry, it's like they are not adults. And even though they are your kids and you agree these kids should be transitioned, it is it is not something that should be done because there are they're still developing. You're not going to take a small child who thinks that they're a cat and give them hair implants on their face to make whiskers. You're not going to do that. That's psychotic. Now,
That's not.
again, people who
Okay,
may
go ahead.
hear these words and say, I know I'm dragging on, I'll let you speak. It's just
No, it's okay. Keep going.
people who hear these words and say, oh, you just hate trans people. It's like, okay, here's the thing, they're children. That's what we're talking about. This is not an argument that you should be entertaining. Period. You were saying.
Oh yeah. Let's not forget a lot of these kids who commit suicide. Another thing is that they can realize they ruin their lives. They've just destroyed themselves by getting these surgeries, and then they'll just kill themselves, knowing that now they've made themselves into freaks.
Well, I wouldn't personally say that because I would, personally, I would say that they feel like they made themselves that way because they feel even more confused. Because, well, I did the transition. Why don't I feel happy? Why don't I do this? Because people were ideologically grooming you in this path, in this direction, to think this way. That is what a definition of grooming is. Sorry, that's what grooming is. It again, you push people to a certain perspective who have never had those types of intentions before. So again, that they're not your ideas to begin with, because those who feel that way, even when they make those transitions, at that point, it is clear they were never your ideas to begin with. And so they
Yeah.
probably do think of themselves now as freaks. They probably do. Now, I am speaking these words because I know that some people listening may believe these things, and not because I'm afraid. It's the only thing I am is that, well, I'm not afraid of other things. If I lose the channel, I lose the channel. Oh well. But
Hmm.
I'm afraid that they may stop listening, or that I may not have another opportunity to reach them, because these are human beings who still have their lives, do decisions that they want to do, and may believe that they're fighting for the right cause. It's like, no, 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 no. Look, we're talking about children here. We're not talking about adults. Children do not need further confusion upon them. Now, again, I've heard this from many people who do transition, or people who, cross dress and take the hormones, and they say that they do not wish this on other people. I agree. That's what I've heard from many people who call themselves trans. The thing is, of course, you don't wish this on other people, because I've heard this from their own experiences. They feel that they're alone in the world because they can't find love, somebody who will understand them for their perspective, or that, that the way they live. And I agree, that must be a hard thing. And I agree that you wouldn't want that on other people. Yes. So I would advocate for you to not fight for advocates of transitioning children at a young age. Why would you do that to children? Again, you might believe these children are genuinely transitioning, but no, they are children. They haven't made up their minds yet. They're not able to make up their minds yet because they haven't gone through puberty to find out. If that's what you believe, that's you have to discover this for yourself, then they're not old enough to discover it. You might be sending them down a bad path that will cause them to be even more confused once they realize that this change hasn't affected their lives in any positive way. So thus they feel there's no way out except to kill themselves, because I'm not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, they yeah, people yeah, the people who transition, I can't imagine the kind of mental anguish and trauma they go through just to thinking like that, cuz it truly is a sad thing that you're so confused about what gender you are, that you alter you go through life altering surgeries just to find out that you've ruined your life. Those- Once you do that, people the people who get transgender surgeries, they ruin their lives because they believe in a delusion that they can somehow be something that they're not. What happens is yeah, they're going to feel alone because they're doing they're indulging in something that people know deep down in their conscience that they know it's not right. They know it's not true. They know it's not real. But yet people all around them are telling them that this is real. This is true. It's honestly sad. It's a shame that people that confused have to that they have to oh, what's the word? Not necessarily have to, that they buy into that because
Well,
they're being told that by their teachers, by people on the internet. I feel for them because this is a problem exclusive to this generation of younger kids. This was never an issue when you and I were growing up.
the only thing I would say is that many people who like to harm children and like to harm people They tell them things that intentionally hurt them. Now, I would say
Mhm.
that, because I want to reach people, I would say
Mhm.
that there are people who genuinely believe these things. Let them
Mhm.
do so. That is their life to make. That is their life to decide such things. If someone actually believes those things, hey, and they adamantly believe it, like that they were in the wrong body. You know what? I may not believe that they were, I may not personally believe that that is correct, but they are free to do that. They're free to do so. All I can say is that I do not want that on children. I just cannot have that. Adults are adults. They can do and say and believe as they please. I cannot I cannot advocate for that when it comes to uh, the youth that cannot make the decision on their own. And
Yeah.
I do like how you did touch on how other people uh, speak about like how you're talking about like the school system and things like that. Yes, the school system is involved in doing that. They do this to young children at a very young age. I despise what people do. All I
I
can,
just
yeah,
go ahead.
you know, adults. Again, I'm just adamant. If you're an adult, you believe those things. You know what? I can't stop you.
Yeah.
You want to go do those things, fine. Um, but I have befriended people who have done stuff like that. I never really been into a situation where they have become my friends, but it's because
Mhm.
they have never really um where they like I never spoke of these things or my views on those, and I don't think I've really shared my views on these things.
Mhm.
Um the only thing I shared is just my view on children. That is it.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is outright when it comes to the way how I've interacted with people who are trans or who transition, I will say,
Mhm.
is that those people they have seen me befriend them, they have seen me been nice to them. I hold no ill will towards them.
But of course not.
Of course, I don't hold any ill will towards them. I may not agree with their decision to transition, but that is their decision to make. That's how I believe it.
Mhm.
But all I can say outright is I don't desire this on children, and I will fight tooth and nail on that. If you want to transition children, I don't care if you think you're helping them, you're not.
You're
You are
not
the
helping
problem.
them.
Your
It,
ideas are the problem, and you're going to make more problems out of these young children when they grow up or if they take their lives. You cannot blame a governor for wanting parents to know what teachers are teaching children. And according to the law he passed, this governor is called Ron DeSantis. He passed legislation that is informing parents, that demands teachers inform the parents what they are teaching their children, what they're teaching children at the school within their curriculum, within their course curriculum. And people kept saying that is the don't say gay bill. That is nothing to do with talking about homosexuality. It has everything to do with what are you teaching children. So all I have to say is outright, the people lie on purpose about what bills, about what is going on, because they want to further the divide. They want to harm children and say it's not happening. They want to harm children, like in that movie, Sound of Freedom. They want to harm them, and I cannot stand for that.
yeah. Yeah. This transitioning your if I don't care who it is, transitioning your child is child abuse. Point plain and simple.
I
There
do
is
agree.
if there is any parent, if there is any relative or teacher, even anyone, any one of these adults who pushes this transgender ideology on their children, one, you are doing irreparable harm to your child. You're going to confuse them, you're going to damage them mentally. And then the second thing is you're abusing your child. Plain and simple. There is no silver lining to this. Let's get I am sometimes I am shocked by what I see cuz it was it was it shouldn't be that hard. You know, when you're born, when you are growing up, you know you're a boy or you're a girl. It's really that easy. It's not. Yes, there are those medical exceptions, but even then, they'll classify themselves as either a girl or a boy. But the thing is, that's not those medical. The thing is that that's not the majority of people. The majority of people are either girls or boys. There is no middle ground. I can't believe that people are willing to accept this delusion as something real. There was a story I listened to today. There was a high school, and two girls were involved in this situation, and they were interacting with a boy who thought a big guy. He was one of the students in the high school, and he thought he was a girl. So he's dressing up in girls' clothes, and all that. And then for some reason, I forget what happens, but he just starts assaulting these two girls. One of them, he sent to the hospital, and he actively started biting her face, and they had to blur out the image. This is clearly someone who wasn't in their right mind, and it did not help that you push this gender ideology on these children.
Yeah.
If you're a parent, you there's no way you can stand for this. Seriously.
My goodness. Yeah, just a lot of strange things are happening, and it happens because people allow these things to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, my goodness. Why on earth are people promoting such what people promote such things simply because they want to believe it to be true. I have something to show, but oh my goodness. Right. Maybe I posted it. Then let's go to my stuff. It was did I post this? I guess I did. No. Oh no. Okay, yeah. Oh my. Yeah, it has to do with stuff like that. Here it is. So, okay. Let me see everybody. Let me get you this, because this is just entirely disturbing for a lot of things. Let's put this here. Channel icon. Let's go to display capture. These are the things that Harasha was talking about. Perfect.
She, her. Calm down. No, don't tell me to calm down. You disrespecting me. Calm down. No, you disrespecting me. Okay. All right. I'm tired. I told you so. The way you're acting is not cool in my classroom. I don't care. Calm down. The way you're disrespecting me is not cool. I told you so many times. I am not a he. Your name is Joshua. I don't care. Your name is Joshua. You are a homie.
There's no sound.
See, and you still being disrespectful. No. Yes, I'm not. No, I'm not. But somebody still respecting my class. You are Joshua, and that's what I said. Is that right? Yes, you are. I told you so many times. Yes.
I
need
just
to back away. You need to back away.
need
back
to
away.
respect my pronouns.
You still a man at the end of the day.
See?
You still a man.
Now
You still a man. You need
I'm
to
sorry.
act.
It's just
out.
he needs to
Man,
back
chill
up.
out.
I'm sorry. This is what I wrote. So
He needs. Was that?
I wrote this.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote, this is what progressive ideology leads to. This larger person is threatening a female school teacher. This the teacher probably a liberal like me, but unlike me, she doesn't understand what is going on. The teacher is frightened and is defending herself from being assaulted.
Yeah. This is an example of a man who needs help. This man needs to go to a mental hospital and get some therapy because this is not acceptable. He's n- he's not all there. Let's be honest here. He's not all there.
I'm sorry, he should not be getting that close to her, period. I do not care. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what things you're doing. Your body is completely different from hers. You cannot be doing this. I am really sorry. For people, look, I do not hate people who do what this man is doing with his body in terms of not this situation, but outside the situation. I don't hate him. And I will call him a him because he is trying to assault this female over here. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, he's trying to assault this woman here. I'm sorry. This I will never say. This human being, I will never say is a woman. I will never say that
Of
because
course.
this person here is assaulting this other person here.
Yeah, this is a lot of it's interesting because people say, "Oh, you hate transgender people for calling this out." No, this is not none of these comments are directed toward hating them or despising them. We're just trying to point out the obvious and saying they're not they are lying to themselves or they've been lied to. That's very important.
Yeah.
They have they've either tricked themselves or someone has tricked them into truly thinking that there's something they're not. That's not look. I know what you know the saying, the truth hurts, but the truth will set you free.
That is true. And
And for those if anyone watches this stream and they say we're being too harsh about this. No, we're not. This is clearly an example of people rejecting reality. This is this is trying to tell people that you can't keep living in a delusion and expect to have a functioning society. If stuff like that becomes the norm in America, this country will not last long. Why? Because the ideology will corrupt every single person. And then we will be weakened from within and we won't have this country anymore.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to have standards. You have to decide to live in reality. And if you don't live in reality, what are you going to do? You're going to live in a fantasy? I'm sorry, but well, no. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm going to say this. Listen, you can't keep living like this. So you can't keep expecting that this is allowing this to happen is okay.
It's not.
So no, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for saying this. People just gotta accept that this is not okay and you shouldn't allow this.
Yeah. You know, when I see things like that, it's like, I'm sorry. I cannot accept this ideology to go forwards in the future to harm women. I'm sorry. Because
Oh yeah.
when you say that a trans woman is a woman or that there is an equation to where they're equal, there's I'm sorry, no. I will not do that because I defend women very much, despite many women may not like me. I very much care about what happens to them. And I'm sorry, never, I never will hit a woman. I never want to frighten a woman like that. I've had women try to do that to me. I stand there confused, being like, why are you trying to intimidate me physically?
Hmm.
But again, I don't get in their faces. I don't do that. I don't do any of that.
Yeah, exactly. Look, what the issue is, we're there's a this the issue is that this ideology, it not only, yeah, it not only harms the boys, this harms mostly the girls. Look at look at the Olympics or look at these sports events. The boys who are pretending they're girls, they're taking all the records away from the girls.
Yeah, but the women just let it happen. So if women aren't going to stand up for themselves, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
Oh, there are some that stand up for themselves.
Good for them.
There have been some sports. I think there was, I can't remember what sport it was. I think it was tennis, something like that. There was one tennis player who was gonna go up a guy who thought he was a girl, and so the actual girl, she just walked. She walked and she refused to play with this guy, and the people were cheering for her. So that's great. It's good to see that there's some common sense left. But yes, I'm really glad you hit on this point because you're absolutely right. Transgender ideology harms girls the most.
Well, it's really progressive ideology.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking mainly the transgender ideology. The transgender ideology mainly harms the girls.
Mm.
Girls can't. The girls. The girls are getting all their. They're having their sports records taken away from them. They're saying that, I don't know. They they're having their privacy taken away from them. That's a big one right there.
Yeah,
The
but
girls are
again,
having their own privacy taken from them
by
because
allowing, yeah, go on, go
Mhm.
on.
Oh, it just yeah, the girls, they're having their privacy taken away because sick, mentally mentally unstable men believe that they are a girl. These men, let's be clear to everyone watching, they don't need to be quote unquote exterminated. They need help. Okay? They need help. They belong in a rehabilitation center. They don't belong in the girls' locker room where they have a very good chance of assaulting them. And even if they don't, do you really want to leave that to chance? If I had a daughter and I knew that a transgender man was in the locker room, I would never have my daughter set foot in that gym ever again or wherever that locker room is. Because I do not want to put my daughter, I don't even want to give a chance of having a mentally unstable man assault or do perverted things with my own daughter.
Yeah, there was like like I remember that in the days when back in the early 2000s, like in the Bush administration, whenever there was a guy or teacher looking into the girls' bathroom or going to the girls' locker room and just being there, there would be an issue. And again, these individuals here believe they are women. They so they don't have any ill intent from what is told to us, what the ideology of progressivism teaches us. However, that isn't all cases, and neither are all cases, of abuse the same. But
Mm-hmm.
most women do not view, like, they may tell themselves that trans women are women. They may do that. They may fall in line, but at the end of the day, they do not believe that. I went to the gym recently, and
Mm-hmm.
at Fullerton, Cal State Fullerton, and I I went to uh, I went to the gym there, and I also went to a different gym. Both instances, I also went to like the Mount Sac one too. I just wanted to go check them out because these are schools close by as well as other 24-hour fitnesses that are close by.
Yeah.
So I go to these places just to go see the environment. You try to ask females how to do some workouts. Some are okay in telling you, but they don't want to continue talking to you, and that's fine. I got the information I needed from them. And then there's some who just don't want to talk to you at all. And when little asked a bit why, they say, well, maybe you should ask a guy. I should have responded, well, how do you know I'm not a woman? They, I don't know what the response would have been. I didn't ask them that. But
Oh.
there was one particular one who said what the other ones did not, because the other ones just wouldn't speak on why I should ask another male. Some just wanted to obfuscate and say, I'm going to go now, or like, I think you should go. Because they did not feel comfortable speaking with me. And if they didn't feel comfortable speaking with me, a small statured man, it doesn't matter I'm a small statured man, they didn't want to speak to me about their physical activities. How do you think a girl who's younger or even the same age as the individual who thinks that they're a woman who transitions or even takes the pills to the hormones, who hasn't transitioned but taking pills, how do you think they would feel if they saw that individual in the changing room with them? They'd probably
Oh,
feel worse. But there were other women that I asked, and they were cool. Like I said, they were fine. So there might be women who are fine with it, but there are clearly women who are not. The one
mm-hmm.
individual who gave me a specific answer, she said that maybe you should ask a guy, and I said, why is that? And she said, well, because guys and girls are different. I should have pressured her on that. And I should have asked, well, how do you know I'm not a girl?
Yeah.
Should have, did not.
Yeah. It's yeah, it's a messed up system right now with all this transgender ideology. I can't believe people actually go along with it.
Well, it's more than just a transgender ideology. It is a progressive ideology. And again, people hear that and they're like, no, I like progress. You're the bad guy. First of all, people who call themselves progressives, do you know that the Nazis call themselves progressives? Do you know that? Let's actually look that up right now. Ah! But yeah, I remember that. Like, you would hear about Hitler in Mein Kampf talk about progress,
Mm-hmm.
about progress. Yeah, let's see. Defense expansion, Hitler on peace. Yes. How did Hitler? Oh, shut up. Anyways, but yeah, Hitler talks about his version of progress. He keeps using those things, and you wouldn't want to be against progress. Hitler's for progress. Oh, come on, dude. Just because someone uses a word or calls their whole movement after a you know, uh, type of word doesn't mean that they actually want that stuff. Now, in
Yeah.
Hitler's Mein Kampf and in Spice book, he does talk about socialism. He says he is a socialist. He didn't said he's a communist. He never said that. He said that he found disdain with with Marx's, you know, philosophy, and he did. He
Yeah.
didn't like communism. But he kept calling himself a socialist, and it is true. His ideology and the way he enacted his ideology looks like socialism, but it's a different type of socialism. That's the reason why people say, well, was socialism? And some people say no, some people say yeah. It's because it's a different type of socialism. Today, we redefine things based off of the past and our understanding of those things, after studying the past. So today we define him as right wing. Back then it was just socialism versus capitalism.
Yeah.
So that's why today he is right wing. But back then he was considered left wing before the war. And looking at the way he enacted his policies, yes, there's a lot of left wing things about him. If anything, he is a right wing socialist, which do exist. And there is today modern day right wing socialism that everybody accepts. It's called socialist capitalism, like the Nordic countries. They may not want to call themselves capitalist countries, but they are socialist capitalist countries. They still have free markets. They still they still tax their people so that way they can use that taxation on social systems. And so that is where it all come that is where they use it from. That is why it's socialism, things like that. But they still use capitalism. They still use things in their economic system that are considered right wing. They don't want to call themselves right wing because in Europe that would get you canceled. But yeah, they are right wing socialist countries. If anything, if we consider fascism, throw that in the loop, then they are center socialism, not right wing, not left wing. They're center.
Yeah.
Oh my! Did you have anything else to talk about?
No, I think I better be getting to go soon, though.
All right. Well, let me first show you an excellent case of gaslighting.
All right.
Let me see now. Let's go with my twatter. Oh my goodness. Government control of Salma Hayek. Oh my. Let's see something. Wait, seriously? Is that really? That can't be correct. Okay, well here's something. Let's see. Let's see. Display capture. Let's go here. Let's go to my twatter. This can't be serious. Yeah. What do you think?
I don't see anything.
Oh, it's not on the Discord. It's on the YouTube.
I don't see anything.
Okay, well hold on. It hasn't showed up yet. 15 seconds delay.
Oh.
That is if we're still going. Oh, perfect. Yeah, it's going. Oh, hold on. You're still big. Come on now. Let's get this. You see it?
I'm in the way.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. You'll be small.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2. From at least your perspective. Okay, cool. I can see my iPod.
Yeah. There you go. Remember that angry
Welcome back.
Funny.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right.
They do. Okay, wait, hold on. Here's gaslighting.
Okay.
My fingers. If I snap my fingers, you'll forget that you were ever gay.
I was never gay.
Exactly.
Wait, no, stop.
Yes.
No, stop. You can't. I was never gay.
Okay.
No, I was never gay.
Sure.
You can't just state something that's not.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You're not able to see it, right?
I can see it.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see my hand? No, you don't yet, because you're still watching the stream, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'm going to pause it at some point. Come on. There it is. Okay, hold on. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I snap my fingers, you'll forget that you were ever gay.
I was never gay.
Exactly.
Wait, no, stop.
Yes.
No, stop. You can't. I was never gay.
Okay.
No, I was never gay.
Sure.
You can't just
It's not playing.
state something.
Oh, no,
then
don't worry,
snap
don't
your
worry.
fingers and then be like,
Oh, there.
I was never gay.
If you say so. If
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's some gaslighting, all right.
Am I right?
Yeah, that's some classic gaslighting for sure.
I love it. That is the best gaslighting. I do love it. My goodness. Yeah. Th- My goodness, that is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have this one tweet, but 15 seconds until you guys will see it. But let's see. Perfect. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. There it is. You see it now?
Me trying to live LGBTQ propaganda, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds about like that. Yeah. It's progressive ideology is so imperialistic and colonial. Like all other imperialistic and colonial ideologies before it, it demands that it be accepted and enforced across the globe. People will remember its acolytes, like those of the Nazis, communists, and the imperialists before it.
Yeah.
They want to colonize the minds and other cultures through enforcing it on other people by any means necessary. It's called imperialism.
Yep, that's true.
And it's just, my goodness. All right, well, let's end this part here.
All right.
Before I do end the stream, because I do have to wait like 15 seconds, so that way the message is seen and heard. So okay, so Dylan,
Yes.
let me make your thing larger. So
Mhm.
if you had anything to suggest to people based off of what we've seen today from Kamala Harris, and then more about what we spoke about afterwards. Let's first talk about the first. Let's have you first have your thoughts on the first topic, Kamala Harris. What
My
would you
thoughts
have to say to
Mhm.
people who you might want to reach, who speaking about Kamala Harris and this interview?
What I would say to those who I would want to reach about this interview is, first of all, her actions and her words speak for herself. She has shown herself to be incoherent and not mentally capable for this job as President of the United States. And for any of those who doubted that up until tonight, I would ask, yes, please consider, is this the kind of person who you want to be your president? Someone who can hardly handle an adversarial interview when being the president is 100 times harder than what she just did right now. If there's really something there, she would have said it tonight. If there was really something of substance, she would have said it tonight. If she had any good answers for any of the policies or failures that her administration had, and they were good and acceptable, she would have said them tonight, but she didn't. So I would ask the for my the first thing I would say is, first I would ask you, if you're thinking about Kamala Harris as your candidate, is this who you want to be the president? And then the second one is, I understand a lot of people think Donald Trump is crass or rude or just plain mean. I understand that, and I wouldn't disagree with you. But I would ask yourself at this point, does that matter? What what I would argue to you is that what matters right now is that we have a leader who can actually govern the country, put it on the right track, and be able to deal with foreign adversaries at home and abroad. So, with all that being said, I humbly ask that you would consider to vote for Donald Trump, not because you like him, not because you think he's a good or moral upstanding person, but because he is a leader that at least shows a common sense vision for the country. And if you're concerned about any of these sensationalist claims that he's going to be a dictator or a Nazi or whatever you want to say, if you're very worried about that, I would ask you, if Donald Trump was truly this racist, horrible dictator that he was, would he have done it years ago? Would he have even won the primaries this year? I don't think so. So with all that being said, in conclusion, I would say this. Please consider voting for Trump. I know it's going to be hard and it may not be the easiest thing to do, but I think you will find that is probably the best path forward for the United States. That's all I have to say.
For sure. And on the second topic of transitioning individuals, what would be your words to them? Sorry,
If
transitioning
you
individuals as well as on the on children being transitioned and the whole narrative surrounding this whole phenomena.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me that. So, what I would say about the people who transition, what I would say is this. It seems very convincing. I know a lot of these people on the internet and the scientists, they all say the same thing. But let your conscience truly tell you who's right. We all know that there's only two genders. There's only two types of human beings in the world. There's either male or female. There are no in-betweens. If you're seriously considering to go through this surgery, and I will say this about the comment I just said in this stream tonight, that they make themselves into freaks. Yeah, that if you try to go through with that, you're destroying your own body. You're destroying you're destroying the body that God gave you, and you're turning yourself into a different creature. You're ruining your life. You're ruining any prospects that you may have for love or children. And I truly believe that if you go through with gender transition surgery, you will live to regret it. And let me just say one more thing, because I am aware that I came off harsh tonight about this topic. The issue why is because it's true. It's true that it's true that transgender ideology is an ideology that's leading many people down a dark and very sad path. It's truly sad, and I don't wish any harm or wrongdoing to these people. I really wish for them to have help. So, with that being said, please, please, if you think that you're another gender, if you think that you should go through a transgender surgery, the simple answer to it is don't. You will ruin your life and you will turn yourself into something you wish you weren't. You will live to regret it every single day. And I say this out of love and out of care. Do not do it. Those are my thoughts. And then finally, I should say this because I said it and I'll own it and I'll take responsibility. Yes. Do not turn yourself, do not go transgender, because as what was said tonight, you will come to view yourself as a freak. You will come to view yourself as that. You may not view it now, you may not view it later, but as time goes on, you'll definitely start to awaken to reality. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Horatio. And the last small topic that we had, I know that you kind of touched on it when you said ideology. What would be your thoughts on progressive ideology?
Progressive ideology. My thoughts on progressive ideology. I believe progressive ideology is the wrong label for it. Ben Shapiro gave a great term for this, regressive. Progressive ideology is masked as a tool for success in going into the future. However, that couldn't be farther from the truth. There, a lot of these ideas that they follow are anti-God, which reverts us back to a form of paganism. They are anti, what's the word, I guess? Misogynistic, hateful, spiteful. You could say that it actually is discriminatory. It's circular reasoning. Fighting racism and hate with racism and hate. It doesn't work. Progressive ideology has been tried. It's been tried before. And it always leads to a more miserable and depressed and depraved society. The only remedy for such an ideology is true religion, which is why I ask that everyone reconsider their belief in Jesus. These ideas, they are sold to you as freeing yourself, as being liberal, as being freeing. But nothing could be further from the truth. And no matter what you believe in, no matter what you think is right or wrong, you have to be a slave to something. Why would you be a slave to something that in the moment seems right and seems true, but in the long run will destroy you inside and out? Truly reconsider, because God in his love and his wisdom never did anything to try to harm or destroy people. Why would you shy away from that? it's within your best interest and for for in the better interest of other people. And that's what I would say about progressive ideology.
All right. Well, thank you, Horatio, so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts as well as being with us on this political night. Um, yes, there are many things said today from a lot of people. Many of the things from Kamala Harris, Bear, ourselves, and others. Um, thank you so much. I would say that when it comes to a lot of the way that the world is, I would say there are people who believe certain things that I may not believe in. There are things that people believe is correct, and whether it be politics, their own lives, or anything else, I cannot change them. All I can do is speak to them and trying to come from a point of where they're at, so I can meet them where they are, so I can try to do some help for them, um, some understanding for them. But I cannot say that I agree with certain people, whether it be for politics, for uh, certain ideologies and the way they operate, or for perhaps the way people view themselves. I just do not agree with certain things. I need to be a better Christian man. I need to do a lot of different things. I am imperfect. Uh, I never said I didn't get angry or anything like that. I never said I didn't talk openly about other things. Thank you, Horatio, for joining us, and thank you for joining me on this quest. And I thank each and every one of you, for whoever will watch this, for watching. And I hope that you enjoyed Horatio. He will be in the future again, hopefully.
Yes, indeed. In fact, I was gonna check. Perhaps we could do a stream election night. It's on Tuesday,
I think that'd be fine.
so that would be real fun.
All right, for sure, my man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will end tonight. Love you all. God bless you. God bless America, and Godspeed. We must wait 15 seconds. All right, hold on. I'm going to turn my mic off, everybody.